In a quiet African village surrounded by golden hills and wide green fields, lived a humble farmer named Msikato. He owned little, yet his heart was rich in peace and kindness. Beside him lived his only daughter, Nambi, a gentle soul, beautiful, and full of grace. Every morning the rooster's crow welcomed a new day. Nambi would rise early, help her father in the garden, and sing softly as the sun painted the sky with gold. Her laughter was a melody that warmed the hearts of everyone in Mawembe village. Nambi was not only beautiful, she was kind, hard-working, and full of respect. She shared her food with the poor, helped widows fetch water, and visited the sick without being asked. To her father, she was not just a daughter, she was a blessing sent from heaven. One bright market day, a young man named Juma arrived from the nearby town. He was the son of Chief Magoma, one of the wealthiest men in the region. When Juma saw Nambi selling cassava and groundnuts, his heart skipped a beat. Every week after that, he came to the market, not for food, but to see her smile. Days passed and their friendship blossomed into love. Under the big mango tree by the river, they shared their dreams. Juma held Nambi's hand and whispered, "When I build my home, you will be its queen." And she smiled shyly, her heart full of hope. But the world can be cruel to the poor. When Juma told his father about Nambi, the chief's face darkened like a storm. He shouted, "A farmer's daughter? Never. You will marry from wealth and power, not from a mud hut." Juma tried to argue, but his father's pride was like iron. The chief arranged a wedding for Juma and Ruth, the daughter of a rich businessman. The drums beat loud, the people feasted, but Juma's heart was empty. Far away under the same mango tree, Nambi wept quietly. She looked at the sky and prayed, "Lord, if this is my cross, give me strength to carry it." That night, Nambi sat in her small hut, a single candle lighting the darkness. She held the silver necklace Juma once gave her and whispered, "True love never dies. It only changes shape." Her tears fell on the floor, but she never cursed him. She only prayed for peace. When morning came, she made a choice. She would not remain where her heart had been broken. She packed a small bundle of clothes, hugged her father tightly, and said, "Tata, I must go and start anew." And so she walked down the long, dusty road toward the unknown city with faith as her only companion. The people whispered, "She has gone to suffer." But heaven smiled, for it knew that her journey had just begun. And so ends the first chapter of Nambi's story. The story of love tested by pride. Moral lesson. Pride blinds the heart from true love. Those who choose wealth over sincerity may gain gold, but lose peace. When the pain of betrayal becomes too heavy, sometimes the only road forward is the one that leads away. After Juma's wedding, Nambi decided to leave her home behind and start a new life. At sunrise, she packed her few clothes, tied them in a bundle, and stepped onto the dusty path. Her father blessed her through tears, saying, "My daughter, wherever you go, let God walk ahead of you." Nambi nodded and began her long journey to the city. Each step was heavy, but her spirit did not break. The city was loud, strange, and fast. Nambi wandered from house to house searching for work. Many rejected her because she was from the village. But one woman, Madame Grace, a wealthy widow, saw something in Nambi's eyes, truth and humility. She hired her as a housemaid. Life was not easy. Nambi woke before dawn, cleaned, cooked, and washed. Sometimes Madame Grace scolded her harshly, but she never answered back. She worked silently, and every night she knelt to pray, "Lord, help me do this work with love." As the months passed, Madame Grace began to notice Nambi's faithfulness. When others stole or lied, Nambi stayed honest. When Madame Grace fell sick, it was Nambi who sat by her bed, fed her, and whispered prayers of healing. From that moment, Madame Grace loved her like a daughter. One quiet evening, as rain softly tapped on the roof, Madame Grace called Nambi to her side and said, "Child, I have watched your heart. You are more than a servant. When I am gone, my home will be yours." Nambi wept, overwhelmed. She had lost love before, and now she was finding it again, through kindness. A few years later, Madame Grace passed away peacefully. Her will was read, and just as she had promised, Nambi inherited her houses, shops, and savings. From a maid, she became a respected businesswoman. But even with wealth, she remained humble, helping widows, feeding orphans, and never forgetting her village roots. People in the city admired her success, but few knew the tears behind her smile. Nambi would often whisper, "The Lord raises the lowly." My story is not about luck, but grace. And so, from rejection to restoration, the once poor farmer's daughter found favor in the eyes of heaven. Her life was proof that goodness never goes unnoticed, even by God. Moral lesson: kindness never dies. What you plant in pain today may bloom in grace tomorrow. Years passed. In the same village where pride once ruled, the winds of fate began to shift. For the proud fall quickly, and the humble rise in silence. Chief Magoma's riches crumbled. Poor investments and greed ruined his business. Soon after, he fell ill and died, leaving Yuma with debts and shame. His wife, Ruth, who once flaunted her wealth, left him for another man. The proud young merchant's son was now a lonely, broken man. Years of regret haunted Juma. He often sat under the same mango tree where he once promised love. He remembered Nambi's laughter, her patience, and her tears. He whispered, "If only I had chosen love over pride." Then one day, a golden envelope arrived in Nambi's home in the city. It was a wedding invitation. Juma was marrying again. The servants asked, "Madam, will you attend?" She smiled softly and said, "Yes, but not to revenge, to show what God can do." The wedding day came. Villagers danced, drums thundered, and laughter filled the air. Then a sound silenced them all: the hum of engines. From afar, a golden Rolls-Royce drove through the dust, shining in the sun like a chariot of light. The car stopped. From it stepped Nambi, dressed in a golden gown, elegant and calm. Beside her walked three beautiful children, her triplets. The crowd gasped. Women covered their mouths, men bowed their heads in awe. Even the music stopped. Juma froze. His heart pounded. He whispered, "Nambi, is it truly you?" She smiled gently. "Yes, Juma. I came not to shame you, but to bless your new beginning." Tears filled his eyes. He fell to his knees and said, "I was blind. I lost gold while chasing glitter." Nambi helped him up and said softly, "Sometimes God lets us fall so we may learn to stand with humility." She turned to his bride and added, "May peace fill your home, and may you never despise the small beginnings that bless others." Then she walked back to her car, children by her side, as the villagers watched in silence. The drums began again, slower, softer, not for the wedding, but for respect. Everyone knew they had witnessed a miracle of grace. As the golden Rolls-Royce disappeared down the dusty road, the sun set over Mwembe village. Her story became a legend, told to remind hearts that destiny cannot be destroyed by rejection. Never despise the humble. God lifts the lowly in his own time, and grace always writes the final chapter.